Welcome to another video by Pharos Leadership. Today we want to talk about Little's Law and how it can be applied. So let's say in a complex factory, each machine chugs along fabricating parts hour after hour. They're monitored by technicians who expertly keep them humming along. In a system with multiple machines, how do you keep all of them going when they have different feed rates, when they produce different quantities of outputs? How do you create enough storage space to have just enough backlog at each workstation? Little's Law promises to answer that question by illustrating the relationship between the arrival of items, the processing time, and the quantity of storage in the system. This same law describes the length of a line at a bank or how long it takes at a checkout stand at the grocery store. Little's Law is very simple. Inventory is equal to the flow time multiplied by the throughput rate. This formula can be manipulated to find any of those three components given the other two. For example, flow rate is equal to the inventory divided by the throughput rate. And last, if you want to solve for throughput rate, it is equal to the inventory divided by the flow time. Here's some simple examples. A widget company makes custom widgets and is experiencing long lead time from when an order is placed to when it's fulfilled. Let's find out how long that lead time is. Our widget making machine puts out 2 widgets per hour. On average, there are 300 widgets being worked on or waiting to be worked. We're looking for the flow time. How long does it take one widget to start in the process, to get to the end, or how long does it spend in the system? That flow time equals the inventory divided by the throughput. That's 300 widgets divided by 2 widgets per hour, which is 150 hours. The widget company has these widgets in inventory for nearly 4 weeks before they are completed. What's great about Little's Law is that we can use it to approximate the effects of changing the system. We adjust 2 of the variables and see what happens to the third. We want to reduce the flow time. We can adjust our inventory and throughput. Throughput is the first and most obvious change. Can we produce more than 2 widgets per hour? Well, let's double our production. Now we have 300 widgets in inventory divided by 4 widgets per hour, leading to a flow time of only 75 hours. We've cut it in half. Second, we can alter the flow time by reducing inventory. Instead of 300 widgets in inventory, let's say we have 150. Divide 150 widgets by 4 widgets per hour. That leads to a respectable flow time of just a single work week. Okay, so let's try another example. The Gizmo factory has been experiencing huge backups behind an old machine that is very slow. We'd like to bring in a newer, fancier machine that works much faster but takes up more space. They'd like to know how much storage space they'd have to have on hand if they bought their new machine. Currently, their Gizmo machine puts out 30 gizmos per hour. They have over 1,000 gizmos currently being worked on. A quick bit of napkin math and you can figure that each gizmo is spending 33 hours sitting on a shelf or being worked on. But what would happen to their inventory count if they bought the new machine that can do 150 gizmos per hour? Well, inventory equals flow time multiplied by throughput. So we have 150 gizmos per hour now, times the same 33 hours of working. That's 5,000 gizmos in inventory. Oh, wait, that's going the wrong direction. Well, what's the problem here? This is one of the limitations of Little's Law. Because these 3 variables are just bound together, we can't just make a change to a single variable and get the result that we're looking for. In fact, it's absurd to think that we would want to maintain our previous flow time getting a new machine that was specifically bought to move product faster. Instead, let's set a target flow time and see how that affects our inventory count. So let's start with 8 hours, 33 down to 8. Now we have a flow time of 8 hours times 150 gizmos per hour. That gives us 1,200 gizmos in inventory or storage. We actually haven't saved any space from our previous 1,000 items in inventory. But this is the strength of Little's Law. We increase throughput and reduced work in process, but we now need more inventory space. Good to know when we're planning for the new machine. You might have seen another flaw in this example. How is a company going to go from producing 30 items a week to 150 items a week? Isn't this going to just suck the system dry upstream, or create so many gizmos at the end that the company can't sell them all? Well, quite possibly. Little's Law depends on a stable system. What that means is that the number of items that come into a system is equal to the number of items flowing out of it. It also means that the inventory is stable over the long term. If you have a machine that can only create one item per day but is fed 2 items per day, the inventory will continue to grow forever. Well, that's not a stable system. Likewise, batch processing or irregular delivery patterns make an average inventory count not a realistic value, and it fails to describe the real world. Let's find another example of when to and not to use Little's Law. Little's Law is often applied to the checkout line at a store. People finish shopping and enter the line. They spend some time in the line, finish the checkout process, and leave. The length of the checkout line varies throughout the day, but is rarely empty and rarely very long. We can use the average time waiting in line to ask ourselves whether we need to have more attendants at the checkout stands. Now that's a good use of Little's Law. A poor use of Little's Law might be the check-in lines at an airport. I know you've probably been to an airport and you walk around the corner hoping to catch your airplane quickly, and you see the line going, just forever. When people are trying to catch a lot of airplanes, you see a lot of passengers line up. You go through the check-in process and get aboard the plane. Now, when there's not very many planes taking off, the line isn't going to be very long. So, or even at midnight or something, there's just not that many planes leaving, so the line is very short. So the average number of people in that check-in line at the airport might be extremely low. In fact, I heard one figure that said the average 24-hour length of the line was only 5. Boy, I've never had that situation where there's only been 5 in the line. But it would be a mistake then to say that the average number of people in line is, say, 5 people, but the number doesn't describe the real world is the point. Even if it is mathematically correct, that number can't be trusted to give you any meaningful recommendation. So there you have it. Little's Law is a powerful but narrow tool it could be very useful when you've got a problem to tackle such as these. Thanks for listening. Hope to see you again later. Thanks. Bye. If you enjoyed the content that you saw today and would like to help me grow the channel, hover your mouse over my picture to the left and click on subscribe. There are also other videos showing on the screen that you might enjoy.